Liberame. The Liberame does appear in several different oratorios over the course of many different pieces of musical literature. Liberame, Deliver Me, is a responsory sung in the office of the dead in the Catholic Church and at the absolution of the dead, a service of prayers for the dead said beside the coffin immediately after their requiem mass and before burial. The text asks God to have mercy upon the deceased person at the last judgment, as is written on Wikipedia. Now, obviously, we also experience this, it's in Gregorian chant and in the Roman Gradual, and there are obviously many composers that have set this to text. Giuseppe Verdi, Gabriel Fauré, Maurice Duruflé, Stravinsky, Benjamin Britten, Christoph Penderecki. I mean, this is like a cornerstone of a good oratorio requiem. And so hearing this in Libera Me from Hell is very interesting. My name is Marco. I'm a former professional opera singer, and I love talking about music from an emotional perspective after a decade on the stage doing that very thing, talking about music from an emotional perspective for audiences across the world. Let's listen to Libera Me from Hell, break it down from an operatic perspective. So I love that we start. I know we're gonna get. I've heard this before, so I know we're gonna get into the this rap section here. But it's really interesting how right. That is very, as we descend down, especially with the soprano voice, it does leave us like, comfort us, protect us, grant us peace. Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna. Deliver me, O Lord, from death eternal on that fearful day. In die illa tremenda. It's very, very, very serious and very poignant and very powerful. And I think that comes through. Not right. So it's cool. And then as the piano comes in, now we have a little bit of a shift emotionally, right? Before we have this big space orchestrally. Da, 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 da. You hear how that's different, but now it's different.
Do the impossible, see the invisible. Row, row, fight the power, touch the untouchable, break the unbreakable. Row, row, fight the power, power to the peeps, power for the dreams, still missing piece, scattering so incomplete. We be that once incredible soldier from underground. See how easy they all fall down, digging through the core to see the light. Let's get out of here, babe. That's the way to survive. Y'all top of the head. I'm on the set. Do the impossible. Don't you wanna bet? Cause a lot of things change. We be waiting in vain. If you wanna get by, no pain, no gain. Wow, Ricky's wanna test me again. Sorry, my rhyme's gonna snatch your brain, yo. I'm still starving for the straight up skill. We gonna make it happen with a crazy rap skill. Get ready to rumble. Now is the time. If you ain't know, now you know. Good luck.
It's interesting how when she's talking about for the judgment upon us and the wrath to come, that's where we really hear the emphasis of the horns and stuff. I'm just sitting here sort of perplexed because it's so interesting. I actually love genre bending like this, and I'm trying to see and think about where the connection between the sort of the very 1990s rap hip hop sound compared to the really, really traditional classical writing is. And I think that based on, Fight the Power and stuff, I actually think that might be fighting against God and being willing to be like, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to surrender. I'm not going to go down. Whereas, if we look at the lyrics of the Libera me, deliver me, O Lord, from death eternal on that fearful day when the heavens and the earth shall be moved, when thou shalt come to judge the world by fire. I am made to tremble and I fear till the judgment be upon us and the coming wrath, and the heavens and the earth shall be moved. I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, if the Libera me is actually like allowing oneself to be consumed by Judgment Day, then the lyrics that occur here are much more poignant in saying, I will not lay down. Let's listen.
Do the impossible, see the invisible. Row, row, fight the power, touch the untouchable, break the unbreakable. Row, row, fight the power, power to the peeps, power for the dreams, still missing piece, scattering so incomplete. We be that once incredible soldier from underground. See how easy they all fall down.
Yeah, see how easy they all fall down. This really feels like it's two distinct personalities or perspectives, where one's saying, well, protect me, O Lord, I give myself to you on whatever may occur on Judgment Day, protect me, Domino Deo. And then over here we're saying, see how easy they all fall down, row, row, fight the power, I'm not giving up. And then what's interesting is that we start with this whole idea of this very lyrical singing, and then here we get and that again, just from my own perspective, that's really like a sense of, it's just a big loop, right? But it's a drive up and down the scale of saying, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to surrender. I'm going to keep standing up for myself. I'm not going to let anybody get in the way of my future, of my life. And so even God himself, you know what I mean? It's pretty interesting. And I like how we end that with big horns, as if to say, like, there's the Judgment Day.
Second verse dedicates to the real peeps. What we gotta say is so real thing, cause revolution ain't never gonna televise. Kicking a mad flow, microphone phenotype, opening third eye, seeing through the overground. I'm about to hit you with a scream from underground. Whole city's covered with a cyber flavor cheese in the area. We're not the toughest.
And now we have to also, can't take lyrics at face value, by the way, guys. Like, when we listen to lyrics, the real purpose for lyrics is for us to more deeply understand them. And so really breaking down and looking at lyrics, studying lyrics, those are ways that we can enhance our musical subtext. And the thing you have to understand is that cybernetic G in your area, one of the toughest enigma, what the hell is he talking about? Well, he's probably talking about, and I'm looking at this picture, so he's probably talking about robots or some sort of cybernetic force, right? And that's obvious. But even beyond that is that all the lyrics, we have to really consider what's actually being said instead of taking the lyrics at face value. That's my point about that. And then, mind you, that's really a really cool gesture musically. Calamitatis. Calamity. Calamitatis. You hear how we start high and then we drop down at the lower T's to really emphasize the tragedy. And then she goes, miserere, doing that little neighbor dissonance there. Is so effective at causing the sense of misery, right? And now we're blending the two. Note here that the rap is actually muffled. And what we actually have here that's actually more prevalent, and maybe this is just the thought process of the citizens of this area, the city, or the fear of the, I don't know, is this a mech anime or whatever, but the fear of the pilots, or if it's Gundam style, or if it's there's no, you got to keep going, there's a clash here because they're playing together. It's a really cool thing to mix genres too. I think it's really effective. And then that takes over, and now they're merged. key change. We're going slightly higher. Grant them rest, eternal rest. It's really that plea which is making us go up in pitch.
Row, fight the power.
And there too, actually, you know, Libera me. That's really saying, liberate me, free me, deliver me. You know, especially because we go up. That's a very common trope. Libera me. Again, we slide down as if to say, like, please God, you know, that's cool. But again, we have the antagonism where one is really strong and the other one is much more pleading. It's an interesting clash and an interesting mesh because they're two different ideas around the same scenario. And I'll be curious to see what the context is for this.
Row, fight the power. Row, fight the power. Row, fight the power. Row, fight the power. Fight the power! Row, fight the power!
And it's cool too because as it ends, even though she's still singing Libera me, Domini or whatever, row, fight the power is actually the thing that thrusts forward. Whereas in the middle section, that was really about the soprano in that portion of it, which felt much more desperate. By the end of this, we're saying no. I will not tolerate being stepped on and being reduced to nothing. Right. And that's really cool because that's the energy that drives to the end of the piece. And again, what did we talk about? The beginning of the piece is really important, which was the desperation of Libera me Deo from hell, you know, Domini Deo. And then the back half is saying, no, absolutely not. I will not be stepped over. I will overcome this adversity and I will triumph over this sense of danger. And it's really powerful stuff. As always, feel free to check out the Patreon. I've been doing some watch alongs of anime. Feel free to check out more on the channel, and there's more to come as always. Thanks a ton, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Row, fight the power! Row, fight the power! Row, fight the power!